Hey, John from Mighty here, and in this video, I'm excited to walk through how you can start to get rid of those annoying continue buttons that you just have to put in your course to create that gating within a lesson itself. But now with a custom code snippet that I'll provide to you with a link, which will go to our Maestro community. And in these custom code snippets, what you're able to do is, while still leveraging the continue button itself, you don't actually have to look at it. You can just wait for a learner to complete all the interactions within a section. And based on these code snippets, it'll automatically open up the next section within that lesson. So let's walk through exactly how you go about doing that. All right, so we've got our sample course here where we've got a bunch of content we want the learner to go through. And then eventually at the bottom of this section, still in the same lesson, we want them to complete a knowledge check before they move on to the next section. So normally, the learner has to go through, complete all the items above or the one directly above. And then as soon as they submit that, the continue button unlocks. Now I have to click that, and then I can move on. And many of your interactions, you may not actually care for that continue button to exist. You may want to make it just once the interactions are done above, that automatically unlocks that next section. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So first, we're going to go over to the edit side and we're going to jump into our Mighty power-ups and specifically the custom code feature. And as I mentioned, we've got the snippets available. Those will be up on our Maestro community. Again, links will be inside of the YouTube description here. And what you will be able to do is download those. And then as soon as you're downloaded and you've got them in your folder or wherever, go ahead and upload those back into your Mighty course. And then from there, just go ahead and enable both of these. The first kind of larger message here that we've got is a snippet that you really won't have to touch. I'll give a little brief overview of what's kind of going on in there, but the magic really is happening inside of this auto continue, a continue button snippet. So you could have many iterations of exactly what this is. You could also apply this continue button to multiple continue buttons. So I'll show you all that here in just a second. So first, diving into kind of what's going on under the hood with this rise block completion window event. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide me over there. And inside of this code snippet, I'll actually just start kind of at the bottom and we'll go from bottom up. And first and foremost, you can subscribe to all sorts of rise changes if you wanted through our Mighty Redux process. You can just subscribe and then pull the current state. And from there, you can get access to the course and the lessons and whatnot. We just get access to that course progress. Now, from there, we pass that information to this rise block completion, which is now a window variable that has all sorts of methods underneath it. So if we scroll up inside of this snippet, you'll see that that gets created here. And there's a couple of methods that you can do within this. The first is being able to just check to see if a block is completed, getting all the block IDs that are completed. You could say as soon as a block gets completed, fire off some event. Or you could even just say, when all the blocks above are completed, fire off an event. So that one's very handy for something like a continue button. But you could also take advantage of when a block completes, maybe that's when you throw confetti now. So there's like a lot of great ways that you can start to take advantage of this, and it's going to be way more performant than some of the other code snippets that are out there. But nothing to actually touch inside of this code snippet. I'm going to go ahead and back out. Just wanted to give you a little brief overview of what that's doing. There was a bunch of other code above that I didn't touch on, but really that's just kind of the magic that caches out progress, keeps track of like which lesson you're in and which blocks are completed within the lesson and whatnot. So no big deal. Feel free to read through the rest of that code if you want to, but I'm going to move on to more of the fun part. And that is this auto continue custom code. In here, there's two things going on. We've got some CSS that is going to actually just hide a block. And again, this is a blocked scope snippet. So we're just going to go down to our continue button and we're going to select this block, which now makes it disappear, which is okay because we don't want our continue buttons to show anymore. We want to start to hide those. And then if we jump over to the JavaScript side, again, nothing you really need to touch here, but I'll just quickly walk through this. We are taking advantage of the function of when blocks above are completed. And then we're passing into that a call that's going to go through, make sure that this is completed. And if it is, we're going to ignore it, meaning someone already had clicked the continue button. But if it's not completed yet as a continue block, then we are going to complete it by clicking the continue button. So that's it. Again, nothing to touch here. All you have to do is just start selecting your different continue buttons that you want to apply this to. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And now let's jump back into a preview so you can see how it's working and how this is functioning from the end user perspective. So learner goes in, they're reading through all of your course content. They eventually get down to this knowledge check. Really, it's a multiple choice block with Mighty, but no big deal. But there's no continue button at the bottom. This is kind of it. And so what the learner can do is they can choose their different options here for this multiple choice. And then as soon as I hit submit, you're going to notice as if the continue button got clicked, it auto scrolled me down and revealed the next section within my lesson. So super powerful. Now I could see arguably maybe you don't want them to scroll down because you want the learner to kind of see the next step of your interaction, but you really do want the next section to unlock. So certainly you could take this code snippet and modify it to prevent the scroll to occur. But for now, the scroll does function just like a normal continue button. So feel free to comment on this if you want to see a version that stops that scroll. But I also want to show you other events, completion events that we could certainly do in order to really not care about that scroll. And so as an example, let me actually jump back in. We're going to edit this lesson. And if we go down past this multiple choice block, down towards this process block, like let's say you've got a series of process blocks that you want to have them go through, but you want to kind of sequence those one after another. Again, you could just drop in a continue button. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I really don't care what this looks like, but sure, let me go ahead and just change the background real quick. I'll apply that theme color. And we're also going to update this so that way it blocks me from moving on to completing the block directly above. I could even actually just say complete all the blocks above. What that would do is it would just ensure that any sort of interaction that's above just happens to not be like all of those need to be completed. So you can either use directly above or not. I'm going to go ahead and test with that. We're going to go back into well, actually, hold on. Let me do this. Let me duplicate this here. I'm going to move this down. And so now we've got a sequence of them. So we've got a process block, continue button, process block, and then the continue button to kind of get us down to the next part of our section. So let's go ahead and test this out without our fix applied. So you can kind of get a look and feel for what this is. So we go down here, no continue button because I've got that enabled. Hit submit, auto scrolled me down, which is awesome. Now we go through the process block. And as soon as this is done, you'll see my continue button unlocks, moves me down to the next one. And so as you can see, like this is an annoying interaction to have to go through. So again, let's go back into our power-ups on the same auto continue. This is where you can take advantage of this being a block scope snippet using this target block. Right now we've got one selected, but what we can do is we can unlock more. So let me go ahead and select, I'm gonna actually pass through this. And then we're going to also apply it to this. So you'll have to get a little bit sneaky again, because we've got this whole like hide the continue button. So you'll want to take advantage of either getting to that next section, still seeing that continue button. Don't click it yet because you want to check this checkbox. If you happen to click it, which maybe let me undo that real quick. Or actually maybe I'll have to reload this page. You can certainly search by a block ID. So these are all in order in which they show up in your block. So this will just go and find your block, or you could also save this and go back into our quick sort and then find the continue button and copy the block ID from there. So however you want to get the block ID, that's another way to do it. But once we've got our different blocks, we'll go back to our lesson. And now let's see how this functions. So we've got multiple choice block. You go through and you answer these questions. It automatically clicks that continue button, moves me on. And then we go down, we've got the process block here. So let me go ahead and complete this. Auto moves me down to the next one. So there you go. A really fun way for you to be able to start taking some of this interactive content that you've got inside of your course and currently gated with these continue buttons. You could certainly just start to get rid of those, hide those out, but still have that same flow, that same functionality that you've got as if they were still in there. So there you go, a very easy way for you to start to get rid of those continue buttons throughout your course and have your interactives actually complete out your lesson for you. You don't actually have to have your learners click those, and you don't have to look at any code. You really are just applying those custom code snippets to multiple continue buttons. You don't have to adjust any logic for any of that. So works great for video, for audio, for any interactive, custom interactive HTML blocks that you've made as well. So feel free to play around with that. If you've got any questions or any issues that you run into, you know where to find me in the Maestro community. I'll be there to answer any questions that you've got. And if you want to see other sort of completion types like this, please let me know and I'll jump in and add more snippets for you. Thanks.